Hey everyone, so I've got a layout update. Finally, my track is done, based on the design that I talked about previous episode here. So I've got it all down, and I've just been going through and testing it over and over just to make sure everything is actually really good. So I've got all my bigger locomotives here. I've got my Seaboard SD45 and then some of my SD50s. Just making sure that if I'm going to have any issues, especially pulling these bigger cars, which I'm not really using this layout anyway, they're going to derail with this stuff. But even going through this right now, like everything's been looking really good, so I'm pretty happy with that. I did finally get my rail joiners in here, so these are the Shinohara joiners that I had talked about in the previous episode too. Probably some of the rarest joiners you can find in HO scale. Like I said, this just happened to pop up on eBay, and I paid with shipping almost 20 bucks for this little bag of them, but I like them just because the detail on them I showed before in the actual layout. You can see they've got some little bit of texture to them in terms of like the actual bolts for the rail joiners there, so they just look nicer. And I've used them throughout, and I just wanted to use them for the rest of the layout here, so I'll just continue with them there. So in terms of that, I can finally start getting on to the next parts of the layout. So one of the next things I'm going to do is switches. So I went through, dug out all my old tortoise switch machines here I had in the box. I've got about 8 of them that I'm going to use here on the layout. And then I've got some of these older Atlas undermount machines as well. So I can use those in some of the areas too. I think I got another 8 of those or something like that. But I'll stop this guy here. So I am going to do all undermount on this. The only thing with it is it's just going to take time to do it. I was even considering for now just doing some of the little manual switches around it, which will be fine. It's just with the height of my layout, which is about 4 feet above the ground or so, it is a little bit of a stretch. I'm actually behind it now, so opposite angle from previous videos. A little bit of stretch to get kind of over to the back, and I don't want to have to hit scenery and stuff like that trying to do it. So I will do undermount machines for all my switches here. And I've already pre-drilled most of the holes for everything as well, so I can get the machines in there. And then I'll mask the holes up with some thin plastic or something like that, just with a thin slot for the wire to come through for the actual machines. These switches here, because the way the layout is, this is actually a 2 feet deep piece of plywood, and then I extended another 6 inches or so here. So I've actually got 2x4 run underneath this point here. And because of that, I couldn't drill a hole right where this is. So I drill a hole over here, and I'm going to have a wire run underneath the rail, and then connect over, and then actually pull it and switch back that way. So that's the plan anyway. But anyway, just wanted to give a quick update and show all the track is down. Just as a refresher here too, looking from the back. So there'll be 4 industries in this layout. First one here. This is the one I'm looking forward to the most of building, is the PVS Chemicals. So it can be a chemical distribution company, which will be really cool. And then in the back here I'll have a building along the back on the backdrop here for this spur here, where that will actually feed that. Still deciding on what industry that'll be. It will be something here in Michigan. And then there'll be another one over here as well on the backdrop right there. And then there's a single track spur over here for this industry. I used to have 2 on here. I had a switch coming off, but because I added this additional switch in back here, I'll talk about that in a second. I just wanted to cut down the number of switches in the layout, so I decided just to have this a small industry, just with a single spur coming in, so it can hold up to 3 cars there. Realistically, it'll just be kind of like a single car industry basically, and then that feeds off the siding over there. But this back area here, originally I didn't have in my design. I didn't have this switch right here. So what would happen is that as a locomotive with whatever cars came back in off of this servicing track, which is right here, he could back up and then from here get over into this industry. The problem is that I made the length of all these industry tracks here roughly just big enough to hold a big locomotive like an SD50 and then 2 cars. And then if you got some smaller cars and like a GP40, you could fit 3 cars in there, like 44 box cars, things like that. So I did that on purpose just to kind of limit my constraints on how much I'd be able to switch back here. But the problem with that is that on this spur here, I would be backing into this industry, which is something I didn't want to be able to do. So I added this additional switch here just with a little track coming off, so I could back up there and then be able to feed this industry over here. So anyway, track work is done, as I mentioned. which I'm glad, because track work is probably my least favorite part of the layout process. So moving forward, I actually start working on fun stuff, getting some scenery in place, finally getting some buildings in place. You can see I've got one of the Rick's Products buildings sitting over here. Undecided if I'm actually using it or not. If I do, I'll probably paint it and kit bash it a little bit, but still got to figure out what I'm going to do for everything else. But anyway, the scenery I'm excited to get into, because that'll be pretty fun. It's been here a little while here, a long time actually, since I've done any scenery, so I'll be starting on that very soon, doing some videos on that as I progress. And then, this is my ST45, I did the video on that too. Again, I haven't done any programming out of a Tsunami 2 DCC and sound decoder on there, which is something to do. It's way too loud. It sounds really, really good, I will say that. So, I mean, it's that iPhone speaker in there, it just sounds great. But I gotta tone it down a little bit. It's just a little bit too loud. So anyway, just wanted to give a layout update, and I'll be having a few more here coming very soon. So thanks for watching.